Welcome to Speak for Yourself. Marcellus Wiley in the house and Emmanuel Acho. $1 Million Smile. Too bad you need more than that. It's time for our top story brought to you by Popeye's new 8-piece nuggets. That smile ain't gonna work today, Acho. 2 hours of fire. And let's start with the Cowboys. We have a huge matchup against Washington Sunday on Fox. Dallas is only 2 games up in the NFC East, and Mike McCarthy made the bold guarantee yesterday that his team was going to win the game. Washington defensive lineman Jonathan Allen responded saying, quote, "The only guarantee in this world is death and taxes." Got a point there. So, Acho, who do you trust more this weekend, Cowboys or Washington?
If you've kept up with the show all week, it should be no surprise that your boy trusts Washington.
Okay.
So the game of football isn't about where have you been. It's not even necessarily about where are you going. It's about where are you right now. Where are you right now? The Cowboys have been much higher highs than Washington. The Cowboys may go a much further distance than Washington, but if y'all pay attention to where the two teams are right now, Washington is in a much better position right now. Marcellus and I talk about this ad nauseum. The game of football you assess in 4-game cycles. You assess that. What has the team been doing the last 4 weeks of the season? Because that's the most up-to-date kind of order to tell you how good a football team is. It's not about what happened week 1. It's not about what's going to happen next year, but what's happened over the course of the last 4 weeks. Even Taylor Heineke has outperformed Dak Prescott the last 4 weeks of the season. Because the last 4 weeks, Taylor Heineke's completion percentage much higher. His wins, much more. Pass rating, much more significant. Passing touchdowns greater and interceptions lesser. So it's not about where Dak Prescott has come from, and it surely is not about where Dak Prescott is going. But who's Dak Prescott right now, and who's Taylor Heineke right now? Taylor Heineke's playing better. Obviously, there are extenuating circumstances. Cowboys, they haven't been able to find their groove. You could make the optimistic assumption that the Cowboys will find their groove, but if I'm just assessing where are these two teams right now, I trust Washington. I trust Washington this weekend. I trust Washington because not only are they winning games, it'd be one thing, Marcellus Wiley, if they were winning games over the Texans, the Jaguars, the Lions, but they're winning games over the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The odds-on MVP favorite, Tom Brady. They're winning games against the Las Vegas Raiders, those same Raiders that had to go into Dallas and beat the Dallas Cowboys. I'll give it to you like this, and I'll be done with my first lap. If you look at the last 4 games that Washington has won, they beat the Super Bowl champs and the Super Bowl favorites in the Bucs. Then they messed around and beat the hottest team, most energized team emotionally in football. Not hottest, most energized, the Carolina Panthers. Then they went out and beat the hungriest quarterback in football because he had to be Russell Wilson coming off of his injury. And then they beat the same team that beat the Cowboys with the largest audience since 1993, the Las Vegas Raiders. So not only is Washington playing well right now, they're playing well against a team that has more motivation off the field than Washington. Not on the field, but more motivation off the field than Washington. For that reason, I trust Washington this weekend.
Oh, man. Sierra ain't cooking? You talking about Russell Wilson's the hungriest quarterback? What you talking about? Man, I trust the Dallas Cowboys. And I know that you don't trust the Washington football team. How can you trust a team without a mascot? First of all, I mean, come on, this is sports. Let's keep it simple. I know why you don't trust Washington, because trust is earned, not given. And you're giving this team some trust. You're giving this team and Taylor Heineke your trust, but they haven't earned it. Let's talk about earning your trust, because it's a difference between I trust a team, the Cowboys, and you believe you trust in Washington. I am big. Look at me, big dog. I am big, right? Now, what if I came up here and said, I believe I am big? You'd be like, why you believe it? Let's look. And let's look at the Dallas Cowboys against the Washington football team. And then let's look at Taylor Heineke versus the Dallas Cowboys, shall we? Because this is not about, I believe that the Cowboys should be trusted. I just trust them. 7-1 is Dak Prescott against this Washington football team in his career. Let's look at Taylor Heineke, who you believe you trust in. Oh, well, did not play. Oh, well, inactive. Oh, that's it. So you believe in trusting in him because now you want to try and cook the books and time shift. You come up to me and say, Marcellus, I trust in him because you know football's in a 4-game cycle. And football's not based on what you've done, but what are you doing right now? Right now is the key part of that conversation. Right now, you don't know what the Washington football team is going to do when they face the Dallas Cowboys. You don't. You don't know what they're going to do with Taylor Heinicke because you've never seen it. Remember, it has to be earned, not given. So I look at this situation of, well, since we don't know what they're going to do when they line up at that hour, that moment, that second, let's just look at the best indicator of future behavior. Past behavior, and past behavior with these two common teams. You don't have anything of resume from Taylor Heinicke or the Washington football teams that says you should have trust in them, but of course, you believe you do.
So it's different teams, different years, different organizations, different players.
Different weeks.
For sure, different weeks, and I'll give you that one as well.
All right.
But what I know is Dak Prescott, 21-6, I believe, versus division in his career. It's not the same Washington football team, because I also know that Dak Prescott, when he faces teams with records below 500, he dominates. But when Dak Prescott has to see teams that are 500 or better, it is a much different story. Let me tell you why I trust Washington. Because the Cowboys do not trust themselves. I was never a coach, so it's hard for me to speak on being a coach. Can speak on being a player, can speak on being a starter, not for very long. Can surely speak on being a role player, but I can't speak on being a coach.
Okay.
Who can? Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera, when he was asked about Mike McCarthy's comments, remember, Mike McCarthy guaranteed the Cowboys will win. We'll get to that more later. When Ron Rivera was asked about Mike McCarthy's comments, he said you do that for one of two reasons. Now, the second reason in which you do that for is because you're trying to convince your team of something. You guarantee a victory because you're trying to convince your team you can win. The only time you ever have to convince someone of something is if they do not trust that thing to be true. Sal, if you are in an argument with your friend, if you're in a conversation with your spouse, if I'm in a conversation with you, if I'm in a conversation with a friend, if I get to convincing them, no, I promise, no, believe me, no, I guarantee, it's because they don't fully trust what is already expected. I don't even think Mike McCarthy trusts these Dallas Cowboys against Washington, because if he did, he wouldn't have to go out there making proclamations in Week 14. Who makes guaranteed proclamations in Week 14? This isn't the Super Bowl. It's the NFC Championship game. It's not even a playoff game. This is not a one-and-done type of accomplishment. He made a proclamation in Week 14 because I don't even think Mike McCarthy trusts his own team, nor trusts himself. So why would I trust a team that don't trust themselves? I trust Washington in this instance.
Oh, man. You ever have somebody do something for you didn't ask for? Like Mike McCarthy guaranteeing a game. And now that's an indictment on those he proclaimed to go out there and win and have victory when they didn't ask for that. Because all their efforts, all their action says, we think we're going to win. Your preparation is your separation. Your preparation tells you that's the proclamation, we're going to win. Sports is built off of that conversation in the mind of all of us. We all think we're going to win. Why are we putting in all this work if we think we're going to lose? So all he did was put a voice, as Dak Prescott said, to what everyone was already thinking. But we didn't ask him to do it, but doesn't mean he's wrong for doing just that same thing. So I look at this situation, let's get to the trust, man, because Mike McCarthy did something that maybe no one wanted to do, but they all are doing in action. So we didn't want to say it, we just wanted to go out there and display it. All right, we do both now because coach is leading the charge. But this is where your trust should go, because you really have to look at trust like in any relationship. It's based on what we've done. What have the Washington football team done against the Dallas Cowboys? You trust that? Taylor Heinicke against the Dallas Cowboys. You trust that? But then I look at the teams. Okay, let's not play this whole matchup of, well, Buffalo lost to Jacksonville, but then Jacksonville beat them, so therefore we're going to be like, I don't want to play that game. I want to play this game. Who has a better offense? Better scoring offense, better passing offense, better rush offense, better red zone scoring, better touchdown percentage, better giving the ball away, taking the ball away, third down defense, sacks. Like, Dallas Cowboys wiping the floor with this team in terms of statistics and ranks. And they also beating them in record. They're 2 up with 2 games to face them. You blink, this could be 4 up by the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know what you trust because I don't see anything in the resume that should warrant your trust.
Let's start here. What makes fights?
What makes fights?
Yes, sir.
Boxing matches or real fights? Like
boxing matches. The phrase styles.
Mano y mano. Like, I'm thinking about you, the sweet science.
Styles make fights. That's what you tell me. That's what we know. That's how it goes down. It's not necessarily about all these Cowboys' amazing individual statistics. It comes down to what's up with these matchups on that day.
Let's go.
And I think Washington will match up fairly well, particularly because the Cowboys, they got to figure out what they can do with this run. But Washington, what they do best is stop the run. But really, Sel, let me break it down for you like this. The Panthers started the season 3-0, but would you say right now they're a good football team? Carolina Panthers. No, sir. Detroit Lions. Would you say they're a good football team?
You're going to know you've been in a fight, but nah, you're going to win.
The Rams, right now, are they a good football team in your opinion?
Sputtering.
Seahawks, they a good football team right now. New York Giants.
Huh? What we doing?
The reason I tell you this is because the Lions, the Rams, the Seahawks, the Giants, the Panthers, and the Cowboys are the only teams since week 8 with 3 losses in the NFC.
Okay.
Giants, Cowboys, Rams, Lions, Seahawks, and Panthers. We know those teams are not good teams. The Lions, the Rams, the Seahawks, the Giants, the Panthers. So if you look at the Cowboys and you realize, wait a second, they are in the same space as the Lions, the Rams, the Seahawks, the Panthers, the Cowboys, and we know none of those teams are presently good teams. Then what does that tell you about the Dallas Cowboys? Now, we know the Panthers used to be a good team. Week 3 of the season, we came out there and said, Panthers and Broncos, contenders, pretenders. I said they were pretenders. Seahawks used to be a good team. Rams, they're still a good team to me one day, but to your point, right now they're not a great team. Cowboys are in that same company, big dog. It's not about the Cowboys' overall seasonal statistics. Where do the Cowboys rank right now? What is Dak Prescott looking like right now? Dak Prescott is not that same Dak. The Cowboys are not the same Cowboys. And Washington is actually right now a better team. So all those statistics sound great in totality, but this game on Sunday isn't about totality. This game on Sunday is about recent history, and really it's about Sunday.
Well, see, that's the thing. We can't lie to people. It's not about recent history. It's not about totality, because then you will see Jacksonville beat Buffalo on any given Sunday. So on any given Sunday, if we're going to have that conversation, all these teams are disposable. All these teams can be beaten. But then we're going to have this conversation of trust. Where are you going to put your trust in what team? Bring up the Buffalo-Jacksonville game again. You bring up Tampa Bay versus Washington. Who were you trusting in that situation? Tampa Bay. Who won? Washington. So why did you trust Tampa Bay? It's the same reason I trust the Dallas Cowboys, because they're a better team. It's just like the record says it, the statistics say it. Now, can something upset that apple cart? Absolutely. Taylor Heineke is not a scrub. Washington football team, they're fighting. But at the same time, trust. It can't be something that you wish for. It can't be something you hope for. It can't be something that is not seen. It's trust. Actually, we have the experience. I trust you, big dog, because we work together. I ain't going to just walk up to somebody, first show we ever do together, and trust them. I'm going to be watching them. Hairs on edge, like, make sure we get our rhythm, make sure we get our chemistry, make sure I understand where they're coming from. But you and I, we got experience. Cowboys, they got experience with the Washington team. Mopping the floor with they sorry selves. So if you look at the situation, 7-1, give me that. What does Washington give you in any kind of consideration of history, resume against the Cowboys that gives you trust?
So do you not at all fear the aspect that the Cowboys, as of late, just aren't very good?
What you mean?
They're just not. They're 3-3 in their last 6. They've lost 3 of their last 5. Since the bye week, they're 3-3. They started off 5-1, and right now they're sitting at 8-4. The fact of the matter is, they're actually just not that good right now, yet you're still bestowing so much faith in them as if they're the same 5-1 Cowboys.
No.
Meanwhile, Washington right now actually is very good. That's where the disconnect lies with me and you. Is I'm looking at Basel, this Cowboys team you're putting this faith in. They're not who you think they are. It's like that former lover. It's like they not who you think they are. You told me broke up with one of them. Y'all tried to get back together. And then it was like, wait, we're very different people.
Yes.
I think the Cowboys are a very different team than the team we fell in love with through 6 weeks of the season. I'm just come to that reality. It appears you might be denying that reality.
Oh, really?
Or we're somewhere in the middle.
No, we're not in the middle. What I do is look at where the team is. And the Cowboys are a better team. Now, are they cooling off at that higher place that they are? Yes. And is another team heating up at a lower place? Yes. But you have to also absolutely just look at where they are. And the Dallas Cowboys are a better team because of record, because of stats, and just because of performances. Now, I love how in a race, someone can have the lead, and then they start looking around, they start chilling. Whatever may happen, they get distracted. They're not running as fast, and you see someone closing. You're telling me right now you trust the person that's closing on the person who has a lead. I don't. You know why? Because he has a lead for a reason. And this lead in this race We too close to the finish line. And I know that the Dallas Cowboys have history against that opponent. I know that the Dallas Cowboys have that kick. And I know the Dallas Cowboys only lost to that team 1 time out of 8.
Let's stay here. Let's stay in your lane.
Let's stay in my lane.
Literally speaking, figuratively speaking.
Let's go.
In track, you can tell, usually I watch an 800-meter race. This is the most definitive time it is to tell. And if you're watching an 800-meter race, 2 laps for y'all at home aren't super track fans, you can tell about 300 meters in my opinion, who will win that race.
Really?
Especially if there are 3 people ahead of the pack and everybody else is behind, and you only have to decide between those 3, you can typically tell. Here's why. I look at form, Sel. I look at which runner can sustain the form in which they're running for the longest.
Right.
So if the person in front head is all this way and arms are all that way, I'm like, they're not going to win because they are expending too much energy. That is not sustainable. So if there is a person 5, even 10 meters behind them, but they're just chilling, don't even look like they're expending that much energy, I will go ahead and predict them. I will trust that they will win that race because it's not about where are you right now. It's about, based on how you look, based on your body of work, literally, presently, where are you going to go? I know you've been in several races or you've watched several races where you see coming out that last bend in a 400 meters, you're like, oh, you know what? Allison Felix may not be ahead, but I know she's going to win because she is keeping form that other person's form is breaking. The Cowboys' form, it appears to be breaking. Dak Prescott, his form appears to be breaking. He started out 20 touchdowns, 4 picks. As of late, I believe he has 4 touchdowns, 4 picks these last 3-4 weeks of the season. So I'm looking at Dak's form, and it looks like it's breaking. I'm looking at Washington's form. It looks like they're holding stride. So in your track analogy, that's where I'm like, wait, Sel, you've been here before. You've been here in other sports where you say, nah, you know what? They're ahead, but their form is breaking. Let me go with the person in second because I trust they can catch it.
Oh, really? Let's torture this one right here. 17-15, 17-15, Seahawks, Raiders. You trust that form? You trust that? Because how it looks, right? Funny, you bring up track, I bring up track. Let's talk track. Michael Johnson had the worst form they said ever. They tried to correct that guy all the way through the ranks. Michael Johnson running like this. They say, man, that's not how you run. And he said, just watch this. Because you got caught up, and I think right now you're getting caught up in this team, the Washington football team, in how it looks. Last time I checked, looks are deceiving. If you look at the Dallas Cowboys and you look at them as a team, as a collective, getting healthy at this moment right now, oh, we're going to know who to trust. It's going to be the one who crosses the finish line, at least the one who's had the gold on 7 of 8 times. Coming up, we have a lot more on the Cowboys. We'll tell you if Dak Prescott should have doubled down on Mike McCarthy's guarantee. Damn, we're going to fight. But first, Chase Claypool's celebration cost the Steelers valuable time last night. Tell you if the incident reflects poorly on Mike Tomlin. That's next on Speak for Yourself. The Steelers lost a nail-biter to the Vikings last night, but everyone is talking about the closing seconds with Pittsburgh down by 8 points. Chase Claypool caught a pass for a first down, then started celebrating with kill time on the clock. Tick-tock. Ben Roethlisberger was asked if he talked to Claypool about the incident. Listen.
It's not really my job. I mean, to me, that goes up to Coach Tomlin. That's what he needs to do. That's his job as the head coach. It's not, as the quarterback, it's my job to help manage what we do on the field and getting first downs and trying to score. Dealing with player issues and whatever else you want to say, that's the coach's job, not mine.
Acho, does the Chase Claypool incident reflect poorly on Mike Tomlin?
I do believe it reflects terribly. Now, that reflects terribly on Big Ben. I mean, take a little bit of accountability. You're a future Hall of Famer, leader at the quarterback position. Keep your guys in check as well. But I think this reflects terribly on Mike Tomlin. We have been led to believe that Mike Tomlin is the strict dad. But I'm starting to think he might be the cool uncle. So remember Bad Boys 1, 2, 3. You got Mike Lowry, Will Smith. You got Marcus Bennett. That's Martin Lawrence. See, I think Mike Tomlin got a little bit more Mike Lowry.
Mike Lowry.
Let me hear. We're led to believe.
Let me hear.
So I'm always reminded of this quote. It wasn't all of a sudden, it was subtle. What ended up as a flood started out as a puddle. Right now, the Steelers and their on-field and off-the-field issues have become a flood, but they started out as a puddle. Mike Tomlin just never put a stop to it. We can go back to 15, 16, 17, AB. Antonio Brown live streaming in the video in the locker room. I think it was Facebook Live back then. It wasn't even like IG Live wasn't even popping. Facebook Live back then. We never put an end to it. That was after they had won a game to go to the AFC Championship game. They haven't been back since. Then from AB, you have Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell, he becomes a distraction, and Le'Veon decides to sit out the entirety of the season. Okay, we're done with Le'Veon. We're done with AB. In comes Juju. Juju Smith-Schuster, he's a distraction all of the last 2 seasons. First, it's the whole somebody stole my bike thing. I lost my bike. And then TikToks. And now you got Chase Claypool. I'm thinking it wasn't all of a sudden. It was subtle. What ended up as a flood started out as a puddle. Man, Mike Tomlin, you know the quote. You're either coaching it or you are letting it happen. I don't know that Mike Tomlin is coaching the nonsense, but clearly he has been letting it happen, Sal. So I do think it's a terrible reflection of Mike Tomlin. If it was one individual, I'd say, nah, it's on the athlete. But it's a group of individuals. I'm reminded of the picture, third quarter, 2 minutes left. You're down 29-7. Y'all force a turnover and your entire defense is in there celebrating. Y'all down by 22 points. Y'all have given up 29 points through 3 quarters, and y'all celebrating as if you're not getting mollywopped right now. If you don't get on the sideline and get ready to try to stop them the next time you get out on the football field, that is a mindset issue. You're not coaching it, you're letting it happen. And if you're not letting it happen, then you're coaching it. But clearly we are seeing a flood of nonsense, and I think Mike Tomlin got to own it.
Oh, man. Different perspective coming your way. This is not reflecting on Mike Tomlin in any form or any fashion. You got to understand that in anything, when you're talking about, let's talk football and let's talk life, the microcosm football of life. In football, you acquire talent, right? And you also, in fine print, acquire everything that comes with that same talent. Now, no one wants to read the fine print, just like no one wants to read a manual when they get any toy, any instruction, anything. They just want to play with it, right? Just want to go out there and see it play. Okay, that's fine. But then that fine print's going to get magnified in critical moments. I am reminded from my playing career of no matter who the coach, the nice coach, Marv Levy, the mean coach, Bill Parcells. The in the middle, kind of close to mean coach, Marty Schottenheimer, rest in peace. No matter who it is, no matter who the coach, no matter what the culture, no matter what the climate was, it all became about what I wanted to do. No coach ever forced me to jump off sides. No coach ever forced me to commit that penalty, unnecessary roughness. And no coach ever stopped me from doing that, because ultimately I was accountable to me. And you know this because you played the game of football at the highest level. You can't blame the coach. You can't blame anybody else but yourself. And what do I have as merit to actually support what I'm saying? Evidence. Do you know that right now this team is the 26th ranked team in terms of penalties? Yeah. Do you know that they won a Super Bowl, 19th ranked? Do you know that the Seahawks won a Super Bowl, last ranked? Ravens won one, 31st ranked. Patriots, Bill Belichick, 27th ranked. It's not on the coach. The coach sets the tone. But you go up here, and I think we make it binary, and a lot of people run with this. If you're not coaching it, you're allowing it. Really? I have 3 kids, and this is where I want to bring it to life. And I used to be the one to be like, yo, you create the perfect environment for a kid, you're going to have a perfect kid. Oh, no, contraire, mon frere. Kids come out just like players are acquired. They're already hardwired. All you can try and do is navigate on the fringes, on the edges. You can change a little here, you can change a little there. The software. But the hardware, the hardwiring, it's already done. MJ is sensitive. Araya is tough. And Olivia is sweet. They are just built that way. Chase Claypool, there's already been articles written about him. They call it diva quotient. This is historic about this guy. It's on his resume. All Mike Tomlin doing is trying to suppress that. And I give you this example. Mike Tomlin had AB for all those years. You bring up those examples, right? And we didn't hear that much about AB. We saw, like you said, the live stream and maybe another example or two. He leaves Mike Tomlin, and in 1 month, he runs through 4 organizations, 19 head coaches. That lets you know Mike Tomlin did his job. It's not about, oh, man, look at all these malcontents. It's how they actually will be worse in different situations.
Okay, you said a lot. I disagree with a lot. I agree with a lot.
Okay.
I think your end point may have undermined some of your other points.
Let's go.
You said Mike Tomlin did his job. I agree with you. But that means that Mike Tomlin had a job to do. The fact that AB is such a distraction at several other organizations, whether it be the Raiders, he declined to trade to the Bills. He was on the Bills for like a day and a half. Some with the Patriots, and then now with the Buccaneers. The fact that Mike Tomlin was able to control AB to some degree for such a long period of time leads me to believe that players can, to a degree, for a somewhat of a period of time, be controlled. You've also told me this, Sal, and I fervently believe you when you say this.
Let's go.
There are no bad kids, just bad parents.
Yeah, Mr. Miyagi. No bad students, just bad teachers.
Just bad teachers.
Yeah,
I believe that can be transferred onto the football field. Now, I don't take the hyperbole of that. There are some bad students. I think there are some bad kids, and I think there are some just bad acting players.
Right.
But for the most part, I do think there are some bad teachers. Mike Tomlin is not that. But clearly there is a lack of universal respect for Mike Tomlin.
Really?
Even from Ben Roethlisberger.
Really?
To me, that's disrespectful, big dog.
What?
You, Ben Roethlisberger, you've been there for, 17 years now. You're going to go to the podium, and you're going to throw Mike Tomlin under the bus?
How did he throw him under the bus? Give it to me.
By saying that, it's not my job. I'm not responsible for that.
Facts.
But I don't think that's a fact. You've seen quarterback time after time, whether it be Aaron Rodgers, whether it be even Kyler Murray, whether it be Matthew Stafford, surely Tom Brady. Be a captain on the football field, command guys on the football field, getting to his own teammates on the football field. But you, Big Ben, you want to tell us it's not your job, it's the coaches. To me, it's just a little bit of a sign of disrespect. I just think, Sel, that the respect that Mike Tomlin used to command is either no longer being commanded or it's no longer being acted out on the football field. This does reflect poorly on Tomlin.
Nah, I can't go there, man, because Tom Brady just went on record when they asked him about AB and his false vaccination, et cetera. You know what he said? He said, man, I'm just here to try and bring the team together and win games. Simple as that. And Tom Brady's the ultimate leader. And I think in that moment, actually, Ben was being a leader. I don't have to tell y'all what I'm going to tell this dude. Even if I did talk to the dude or not going to talk to the dude, that's between us. That was just another way of saying that. I'm not going to make this bigger than it is. And I thought that was a sign of leadership from Big Ben. I actually applaud that moment. But you know what a coach's job is. One is to just get us as human chess pieces in the best position to perform. Now, let's talk about the character. Let's talk about personality with coaches. Coaches know we got 53 individuals all fighting for different things. And we got to forge all that into one common goal, right? Now, with that said, you can never make an indictment on a coach based on malcontents. Because you can look through history, Bill Belichick says his greatest regret ever is not helping Lawrence Taylor out as a person. Lawrence Taylor with Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick, et cetera. Lawrence Taylor still was Lawrence Taylor. He was hardwired to be who he was. You can look at a lot of the greats. They just are hardwired the way that they are. Is it an indictment on them? Is it an indictment on Phil Jackson, how Michael Jordan in today's world would certainly be looked at differently and scrutinized compared to back then? Late nights and the gambling and, hey, I'd show up, and that kind of stuff. It's not on Phil Jackson. It's on him. I can't blame a coach because I didn't act different because I had a nicer coach or meaner coach. I didn't. I don't know if you did, and you could talk to me through that experience. But it was ultimately on me because this opportunity ultimately is on me. So I'm not looking at a coach to keep me in line when that's really based on me.
Here's where I'll talk to you from this experience.
Okay.
Let's talk to the experience of we're navigating through a grocery store. And you're navigating through a grocery store and you hear these kids whining, complaining, nagging.
They there.
They might be opening candy bars at the cashier checkout. They might be cussing out their mom and daddy. I've seen this before.
Were you with me the other day? What the hell
We've all been there before.
Man.
I'm sure as y'all are watching, y'all have that visual in your mind.
Yeah.
And I don't look at that child like, man, you a bad child. I genuinely don't. Now, personalizing this, I start looking at the parents like, you just let your kid do what? So, even if I go to somebody's house and the parent calls their daughter's name, hey, Jeffrey, hey, Susan, whatever, and I hear the child respond, what? I'm not looking at the kid. I'm thinking to myself, oh, you've cultivated a household where your kids just respond to you yelling, what? Because in my household, it was yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, you know, sir, please, thank yous.
Yeah.
It's not about the kid. It's about the parent responsible. In the NFL, it's very similar. The coaches are the parents responsible. So when I see a whole bunch of bad kids which we've seen through the years of the Steelers organization, or even a whole bunch of bad actions, because say they're not bad kids, just say bad actions.
Okay.
Like the Steelers celebrating when down 22, as I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players in the frame of the Steelers celebrating when down 22 after forcing a turnover, or Chase Claypool right there celebrating. Either way, how you look at it, regardless of how you slice it and dice it, that's those 7 players in the frame. That to me is not on them. That's like that child in the grocery store who's throwing stuff. That's like that parent, that child in the house who's yelling what in response to the parents. That's on the parent, big dog. This one's on Mike Tomlin in this situation.
Nah, man. One thing, I know you don't have any kids, so this is going to be me talking to you instead of with you. You create them, but you don't control them. Now, that's the thing about it. Like, you may think you are. Here's the thing. Me and my boy, we used to always talk about this, that you know that the prisons are full, but they're not all full with just bad adults from bad situations and bad kids that turn into bad adults. There's some bad parents and some good parents that got kids that's locked up. Now, a lot of people don't want to hear that. A lot of people don't want to talk about that. But nobody want to talk about their baby, right? But you know me, I can be one thou wow. I see it when I talk about my kids. I'm going to talk about my experience in football because I played with 6 Hall of Famers, and let's just say they weren't choir boys. And let's just say that the ultimate job was getting it done on the football field, and then you deal with what comes with that, right? We know we played in that era, we played in that game. We don't discuss that to the public because we got to protect the guilty. But when you look at teams that win Super Bowls being last in penalties, those are badass kids. They still win it all. When you look at the times that we know that we could get off mic, off camera, and start talking about names and numbers of people who were doing some crazy stuff and still getting it done on the field, is that on coach? Because coach can't control that. Coach is saying, look, all I need to do is funnel whatever energy you have and direct it towards positive performance. Everything else, I'm trying to mitigate, I'm trying to suppress, but in reality, it's ultimately on you.
But I do think that's on Coach Sell. The difference is coaches will let it happen for the sake of winning. I remember when Chip Kelly was with the Eagles, I remember we traded Deshaun Jackson. We either traded him or didn't re-sign him. Somehow we are
saying names and numbers.
Somehow we lost D-Jack. Now, you retained Deshaun Jackson, particularly Eagles Deshaun Jackson. That's not a player that you let go during the prime of his career. But I would remember Chip would make us wear white socks, and Deshaun would wear black. Chip would tell us to wear black shirts, and Deshaun would wear white. So whatever Chip said do, basically D-Jack was doing the opposite.
Right.
I don't even think D-Jack would deny it. He's a changed man now, a much more mature individual. Chip got D-Jack out of there. LaShawn McCoy. Now, LaShawn wasn't nearly as outwardly dismissive of Chip's ideas, but Chip got shady up out of there. Evan Mathis, offensive lineman. Evan Mathis did whatever Evan Mathis wanted to do. Pro Bowl guard. Got him up out of there. Now the wins we had left with Evan.
I'm about to say, they got Chip out of there too.
And left with all them cats. But it was a matter of Chip wasn't going to let it happen. It, in this instance, be players that weren't going to fall in line with what he was wanting them to fall in line with. Now, there is that fine balance. Like you said, the wins left, is LaShawn left, is D-Jack left, and Evan Mathis left. But the bad behavior, if you will, bad is relative, it left as well. I think Mike Tomlin has tolerated AB, tolerated Le'Veon, tolerated Juju, tolerated Chase because of how talented they are. But it's still on Mike Tomlin because he's allowing it for the sake of winning ball games.
No. He's just prioritizing what's most important, which is the talent acquisition, which is keeping D-Jack, which is if you really want to do something, if you really want to tell me that you are a great coach, you don't get rid of it just because you can't control it. You don't get rid of it in that respect. You know what you do? You condition it. You make sure that that doesn't get in the way of the ultimate goal, which is winning. So in that situation you gave me with Chip Kelly, he failed himself. Like, I'm going to get rid of all my problems. Just imagine if you tried to climb through life trying to get rid of all your problems instead of dealing with them, handling them. If anything, you got to respect Mike Tomlin because he's like, look, you got this going well for you, and you got a few warts that is messing up that beautiful image of your performances. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make those two work together, not try to pick one or the other, because what's it going to do to cut off your nose and spite your face? What's it going to do for you if you get rid of all your talent and you say, look, we're leading the league in terms of everyone being together, and we're leading the league in terms of camaraderie. We last in wins, and more importantly, what kind of team is that? There's never been a perfect team, as I pointed out. Teams have been last in penalties. Teams have been disgruntled. Teams have fought. all the way to the top. Mike Tomlin knows that because he's been to the top. Coming up, Mike McCarthy guaranteed a win on Sunday. I know my boy over here don't like that. We'll tell you if Dak Prescott should have doubled down on his head coach's claim, and that's next on For Yourself. Tomorrow, it's a big college hoops doubleheader on Fox. First, 4th-ranked UCLA faces Marquette at 2:30 Eastern. Then at 5, 11th-ranked Arizona takes on Illinois. You can catch it all on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Now let's head back to Dallas. Mike McCarthy made headlines yesterday when he said his Cowboys would win Sunday on the road against Washington. Dak Prescott was asked about his head coach's bold claim. Take a listen.
Yeah. It doesn't put us in a bad spot. I mean, obviously, if you're preparing for this game, you're a Dallas Cowboy. If you're a fan, you expect to go in and win each and every game. So I don't think he's said anything different than everyone in this building's thoughts. He just voiced it. So now we've got to make sure that we're accountable of our words. And I think that's all that is a coach setting the tone for the week.
Acho, should Dak have doubled down on McCarthy's comments? Oh, you rubbing your hands already? He ready for this one.
No, but everybody needs a Dak Prescott in their life, man.
Let's hear it.
Everybody needs somebody who is about that action.
Okay.
Everybody needs somebody who, regardless of how crazy I talk, they gonna back me up. Everybody needs somebody who, regardless of what I say recklessly, they gonna stand by my side. That was and is Dak Prescott in that situation. Now, no, Dak shouldn't have doubled down. What Dak should have done is correct what Mike McCarthy did. Dak should have simply said, we're going to go out there, we're going to play our best, and if we do that, we're going to come out victorious, right? We're going to go out there, we're going to play at our best, and if we do that, we're going to like the result at the end of the day. Just say something very simple like that. So once again, if you leave in Big Dog, the club, and your homeboy start chirping, start talking recklessly, and you know, oh, here he goes. It's just your fighting homeboy. Everybody got that one fighting homeboy. They start talking recklessly. You can diffuse the situation. Hey, my bad. Hear me, Nat. He had one too many drinks. We just gonna get on our way. Hey, don't pay him no mind. Don't pay him no. He don't know what he's saying. He don't know what he's saying. But instead, you're gonna go back it up. You're gonna go egg on the situation, which what Dak Prescott did. Now, I don't mind you egging on a situation if you can fight. But if you can't fight, it behooves you to diffuse the situation. As of late, Dak Prescott haven't been able to fight.
Oh, wow.
The last 3 games versus the first 8 games. Dak in these last 3 games, 1 and 2. Dak in these last 3 games, 66% completion percentage. Last 3 games, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So Dak isn't the fighter he used to be early in the season, kind of like Tyson Postbuster Douglas.
Oh, my.
That's Dak these last 3 games. Now, Tyson won some more bouts, and Dak obviously will win several more bouts. But as it stands right now, Dak just ain't that fighter that he used to be the first 8 games. That's fine. It's just real. So why would you start adding to the situation when you know now you got to throw these hands and your hands ain't all that quick? Your punch don't got that much power. I don't like Dak doubling down on it because he didn't need to double down on it, Sal.
Oh, my God. You know why he doubled down on it, and I love it? Because he's been listening to what I've been listening to.
Hit him up, Tupac.
I ain't never scared, and you are. And that's why I don't go out with you. We have not went to a club yet. We ain't hung out yet. We've been places at the same time, coincidentally, and said, oh, let's say hi to each other. Like we don't say hi to each other every other damn day. But other than that, I have never walked out my house said, I am going to hang with Acho. And now I know why. Because you're scared. What the hell? Giving me examples like, hey, your homeboy leaving the club, and then he say something, you got to diffuse it. Hold on. That ain't this. This ain't reckless, what Mike McCarthy said, because this is our intention. This is what we came to the club to do. We came to the club to whoop up on Washington. Your homeboy didn't come to the club to whoop on somebody. That's reckless. You getting out your lane, homeboy. Mike McCarthy just put a voice to what everybody is working on and thinking about. What is so wrong with that, my man Acho? This is a muscular move, as they call it. Sometimes in life, you got to cause attention to bring intention. You know what I'm talking about? You bring attention to your intention. Like every boxing match I've ever seen. Like you watch those dudes in the pre-fights and all the discussion and when they sitting there with the face-offs and they talking about their training camp, they are talking plumb noise about the other fighter, the opponent, right? That's what the sweet science is built off of. I hate to remind you, football is a violent sport. It's a combat sport just like boxing. We built off the same thing. Oh, I'm going to tear him up. When I had to put my hand in the dirt and I had to watch Jonathan Ogden on the other side, I said I was going to beat him down. I didn't. But you know what? It didn't change my mind based on results. My intention and what I gave attention to was the fact that I was out there trying to do something. Let me tell you one more thing about this, because I think you're trying to really paint the picture like, yesterday you were saying, oh, man, why do this? It's not profitable. What do you have to gain from this? I'm going to tell you why not do it. What do you have to lose from this? Let's talk about opportunity costs, because there's always a price to pay, whether you pay it now or pay it later. I'll give you two players right now, Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan played it like you played it. I ain't going to say nothing. I'm just going to go out there and Mr. Fundamental you and be the greatest. Kevin Garnett, just a tick off of that, was going to let you know he coming, and that's where he is, right? But still lesser of a player, correct?
Significantly.
Significantly. Okay, even better. But then you start looking at all that came to Kevin Garnett just because he brought attention to his intention, closed that gap in a lot of people's perception. And that's the opportunity cost. You can go out there and play it close to the vest as you want. That's cool. Live with the results. But there is a way that you can cause some noise and actually handle your business that's going to be greater than all.
The kicker is the Cowboys are already a team of perception.
Yeah.
The Cowboys are already a team of incredible attention. But the Cowboys are not a team of great results. Tim Duncan had the results. Kevin Garnett, obviously, he won a chip.
About to say that. Don't do that.
Kevin Garnett, as it pertains to Tim Duncan, was much more attention-oriented than results-oriented. Tim Duncan, much more results-oriented. Cowboys don't need no more attention. They don't need no more of that perception. Right now, Cowboys just need results. They just need reality. So it doesn't behoove the Cowboys to come make all this noise. It's what Jerry Jones is for. It's what the Star is for. It's what One Cowboys Way, the practice facility, is for. Cowboys don't need no more attention, Sal. They have as much attention as an organization could want.
I hear it.
Also, going back to a fight, if you know you about to fight somebody, your best bet is to sneak them. That's your best bet.
You really
if you really know you're about to fight somebody,
another reason I ain't
your
hanging.
best bet is go ahead and let me go ahead and sneak them when they're not really sure it's coming. Nothing about this is sneaky. Mike McCarthy, you're now pronouncing to the world, yeah, we're going to get this win. And Mike McCarthy, the worst part is you ain't even believe it. You out here stuttering. Well, you know, we're going to go out there and win this game. Now, Dak had to overcompensate. I believe I've heard Dak Prescott cuss in a presser 3 times. I was with the Cowboys, Dak Prescott's rookie year, his second year, not with them playing. I was with them in the media section.
Okay.
And I've obviously been following the team ever since. So as somebody who doesn't cuss or rarely cusses myself, you want to know when I curse? When I really want to let somebody know I'm serious. Like, oh, Acho, but he just cursed. He must be real serious. Oh, dang, he just said that. Oh, he must really be mad. You curse when you really want to let people know I'm really serious this time. Dak Prescott, he don't even cuss like that, Sal. How many times in a presser, and we do pressers on this show every day. We do a Keep It 99. We do a Keep It 100. We do all the pressers. How many times we heard Dak Prescott cuss? Man, not one time. But now all of a sudden, Dak, we're going to win this game. Because he wants to let everybody know he real serious. No need to do all that, Sal. I am reading through it. There was no need for Dak to get out of character. No need for McCarthy to get out of character.
Man, you just keep giving me these bad examples, and I just keep pointing out why they're bad examples. Damn, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with your ass? You know why I curse? Because I feel like it. Damn it. I ain't serious. I'm just telling you how I feel, and I can use the language that is at my disposal. You can't sneak nobody in football. So why you keep giving me these fighting examples? 105, boom. Ain't no sneaking. You better be on that field, and you're going to be on the field. How many times has this happened to you? Because people think that we all just wanted to go to every practice and every game we were just like, yeah, I was pumped for every game. But I'm glad they told us we had to be out there at that time, because sometimes I'm sitting there like, boy, this leg ain't firing. This nerve right here, I'm shaking old Betty. Come on, Betty. And then you know what? 105? Oh, it's time to light it up. This is the situation. Ain't no sneak attack, bruh. Mike McCarthy can say whatever he wants. Whatever. It ain't gonna matter. Bulletin board materials for fans and for players in the locker room. And once you're on that field, bruh, you don't care about anything else. So why not say it? What I'm really having an issue with is so funny, because I just think you're scared to voice your thoughts. I wonder who my real homeboy Acho is, because you ain't gonna tell me. And knowing you, I don't curse, Sal. Well, when I do, I'm real serious. All right. Oh, well, you know what, Sal? I'm thinking it, but I ain't gonna tell you that. Why not? I don't see the penalty of saying something that we all know that those words going to be cheap no matter what they are, no matter how much you charge up those words. They're cheap on the football field because once 105 comes and you hear that ball in the air, it's time to go to battle.
Even if we were operating from a neutral space, say you and I were both operating from a neutral space and we were just going to use, I don't know, some empirical data, or we were going to look to some of the greats before us to figure out what's the best way to operate. Well, the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady, he doesn't go out there and declare wins before playing. Greatest coach of all time, Bill Belichick, he doesn't go out there and declare wins before playing. Second greatest quarterback, Peyton Manning of all time, or the greatest, depending on who you ask. He never went out there and declared wins before playing. If you want to talk about some of the other great coaches of all times, Bill Parcells, Tom Landry, just some other greats, they didn't go out there and declare wins. So even if you and I, we're both going to say, you know what, Acho, you know what, Sel, let's just assume neither of us know, and let's just look at the greats who have ever done it, and let's try to emulate the greats, because typically you can look at where greats have gone if you want to get there too. The greats ain't doing that either. So why would we assume that the lessers have somehow miraculously figured out a better way to motivate a team than the greatest of all time in Bill Belichick, the greatest of all time in Tom Brady, the Peyton Mannings of the world, the Landrys of the world, all these other greats that have come before them? They didn't employ this approach, but we think that this is a brilliant approach when Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy do it, who are significantly lesser than anybody I've mentioned.
Jimmy Johnson lesser?
Significantly than Bill Belichick. Significantly.
Tom Landry, though. You said
Tom Landry's still greater than Jimmy Johnson in the NFL. Jimmy Johnson, I think what he did between college and pro, he only won it. It can't be touched.
I'm not going to let you get away with that, but I'm going to let you get away with that right now, and then you'll go home and Google that. And let's talk about, you said that you need someone else that's great to do it, to emulate. No, you don't. No, you don't. We just lived through this in our own world. Let's bring them up. Pat McAfee. Emulate that. Pat McAfee. Hey, Pat McAfee.
Bill Simmons.
Hold on. Pat McAfee, a punter who couldn't get a job, who was looking for opportunities, figured out a way to do it, which is investing in himself, right?
Rogan, Bill Simmons, they did the same thing.
Yeah. And that's
emulated.
Hold on. That's not emulating because they're not the same course. You're giving me coach to coach. I'm giving you former player to player. Where we doing is something different than what he's doing, correct? Keep it to us.
It's the same industry. It's the same industry.
It's the same industry.
TV to
it's
TV.
Still sports. See where you're going now? You're getting off the lane. All I'm saying is you don't need, what is the quote? Talent hits something that is seen, right? And genius hits something unseen.
Yes, sir.
What we're seeing right now could be genius, but it's not. It's something that you said that is emulated. And it's something that I agree is emulated. But we're playing football, bruh. And football is spoken loudest through pads, through physicality, correct? Nothing else speaks louder than that. Actions speak louder than words. But right now in this equation, your logic, it sounds like you want the words to be louder than the action. He just told you what I'm going to do. Now, if he does it, you do it. If I were to race you out, so you know what I would say? I'm going to beat you. You know I'm going to beat you. And if you beat me, guess what, Acho? You know what I'm going to say? Line up again. Let's run it back. That's what you do. And that's what this team has to do against this same Washington football team. Please make me understand why you're so scared to just tell me how you feel. Because I don't see that in football, why that's such a issue.
It's two trains of thought. The first is I gain nothing by declaring a victory I haven't yet achieved. I gain absolutely nothing by declaring that.
Really?
That's my first train of thought. My second train of thought is just understanding the psychology of men. Men, figure of speech. Psychology of men and women, obviously. The psychology is people do not always go 100%. Regardless of whether you think you're going 100% or not, there's probably a higher capacity to go. If I was like, hey, Sale, you got to get this sack, you'd go a lot. Hey, Sale, you get this sack, $5,000. You go harder. Hey, Sale, you get this sack, your children's lives are on the line. You're going harder than I just said, hey, Sale, go get this sack. Because there's typically a higher level that you can activate from within you. That's why you hear about those superhuman strength stories where a mom with their child underneath the car can lift it up. A parent can stop this, why, and that. You hear and you can see in YouTube some of these incredible stories because there's typically a higher power you can call from within you. I don't want to give them that motivation. So if I'm Mike McCarthy, there's two things. I don't want to make Washington go any harder than they could have already gone, because being real, you just don't go 100% all the time. Maybe you did, but the majority of athletes I know did not. And secondarily is like, there's no point. I gain nothing in declaring a victory I haven't achieved. That's just my train of thought.
No, I hear it. I respect that too. Except there's another side of that coin. It's not just maybe Washington's going to go harder. Maybe Mike McCarthy is genius. Them Cowboys about to go harder, too. Coming up, Cam Newton says Sunday's game against the Falcons is a must-win. We'll tell you if we agree. That's next. Don't speak for yourself. Ain't next good. Cam Newton said his return to Carolina is not about a feel-good story. He's 0 for 2 as their starter since he came back. The 5-7 Panthers host the Falcons Sunday on Fox, and Cam has no desire to talk about the playoffs and only wants to focus on this weekend. Take a listen.
As someone once told me, playing a divisional game, it counts for 2. So this is a must win for us for more reasons than one. And this is not desperation football by no means. This is playing the game that, you know, we feel that, you know, we have to compete early. We have to strike early because it's more or less about respect than anything else.
Acho, you agree with Cam that Sunday's a must-win game?
Absolutely. So, the honeymoon restoration period is over. That reuniting period where you get back with a long-lost lover and you're so happy to see them again, it's dwindled, and it didn't last very long. It lasted 1 week against the Arizona Cardinals. Since then, it has been all bad. It's a must-win game for Cam Newton for several reasons. First, let's start macro. Big picture, Panthers, if you can't beat Washington, who can you beat? If you can't beat the Dolphins, who can you beat? If you cannot beat the Falcons, who can you beat? You got the 4th toughest schedule over the last 5 weeks of ball, including the Bills and the Buccaneers twice. So if you cannot beat the Dolphins, nor the Washington football team, nor the Falcons, then who can you beat? That's the first thing from a macro perspective. From a micro perspective, Cam Newton, 0-2 this year as a starter. 0-10 in your last 10 starts for the Panthers. So 0-10.
0-10.
It don't matter what your name is, what organization, that's bad. Even Jared Goff with the Lions had a tie before he lost 10 straight. So 0-10 as a starter, Cam Newton for these Panthers, it's disgusting. Like that record is putrid. It like literally, you think about Cam, you think about the Panthers. That's gross. So you got to win just for the sake of trying to maintain playoff hopes. You have to win because Cam Newton, you're trying to get a win. You ain't won in 10 games in a Panthers uniform. So you're trying to win for that reason. It's imperative they get a W. Now, what are the repercussions of losing? I don't know. Is it maybe some hyperbole? Sure. Right? If you lose, can you still make the playoffs? Maybe. I don't really know the percentages here. I think there's a 1 in 80 chance. So 1.25% chance they can make the playoffs if they lose. A 15% chance they can make the playoffs if they win. So am I saying there's a chance? Yes. Right. Is it a must-win in that regard? Maybe not. Must-win in the regard of Cam Newton, are you going to get fired? Maybe. But it's definitely a must-win, at least in narrative form.
I will only say yes, it's a must-win because he said it. You're like one of those things, I take you for your word. You know, if you tell me something that is that important to you, Acho, I'm going to say, all right. Even if I disagree, I won't overstep my bounds in that respect. But this question was asked to me, so I will answer it the way that I feel. No, it's not a must-win. Must-win has consequences, grave consequences. And this doesn't have grave consequences. Dire consequences, but not grave consequences. There is a difference. Let's talk about Cam Newton, what he's really trying to do. He's trying to fake it till he makes it. Cam Newton is right now dealing with what we were just talking about with Mike McCarthy in terms of the thoughts, words, action continuum, how they all connect. So now Cam Newton is trying to create urgency. That type of urgency that Mike McCarthy's trying to create. That type of urgency that you mentioned that the mother sees her baby under the car and lifts the car up type of urgency. Cam Newton is auditioning right now and trying to create urgency. At least with his words. At least with his thoughts. Now his actions, that will be supported when this game takes place. And I understand where Cam Newton is right now because he knows that there's a perception of him and there's a reality of him. The perception is negative right now. So we're going to look at 0-10 records. We're going to look at, that New England situation wasn't good with you. We're going to look at right now, you came in 34 points, most points by the Panthers this year, week 1 when you got back. And all of a sudden, every week it's gotten worse and lesser in terms of point production. And then we saw, obviously, the horrible game that he had, 5 for 21, 92 yards. So there's a perception gap that is now starting to become reality for Cam. And I remember Kurt Warner talked about this, how when he found himself as a backup in New York. And he said, man, I knew I could still play. Obviously, he still could because he went to Arizona, made it to the Super Bowl. He said, but the perception was, hey, man, you're a castaway. And that's what Cam Newton is fighting for right now. So to fight that castaway status, you know what he's trying to do? Fake it till he makes it. Create an urgency. Say to himself something in hyperbole, something that is so extreme that maybe it gets it out of him. But in reality, this is not a must-win, but they need to win.
What's interesting, though, Sel, is I'm not sure this time it actually is hyperbole for Cam. Do we have that Cam sound? I watched the 8-minute interview, and here's what Cam was saying about even himself.
Do I think I had something to do with it? The competitor in me, absolutely, yes. Because the truth of the matter is you don't lose your job because of success. But where I'm at now is doing what I can control to make sure that I have a job too. Yeah, let's just be honest.
So that was in response to offensive coordinator Joe Brady getting fired during a bye week. Cam saying, I'm a competitor, so obviously I think I have something to do with that. But let's be honest, I'm trying to make sure I got a job too.
Facts.
I think Cam's starting to feel the pressure, Sel, because during the course of that 8-minute and 46-second interview, I believe it was, Cam was like, I'm not playing good right now. We're not winning games. A reporter mentioned the playoffs, and Cam went in on her lovingly. He was like, please stop using that word. Like, don't even use that P word.
Yeah.
We got to get a win before we can even think about the playoffs. I understand the playoffs are a hope, a goal, a dream, and ambition, but don't even use that word. I think even Cam understands statistically he's sorry right now. I don't even think Cam would watch the show and be mad at us for saying that. I think even Cam understands that. So he knows he has to win because the game of football comes down to winning. When you win, people get hired. When raises. When you lose, people get fired. People have already started to get fired in Carolina. If they continue to lose, more heads will roll. Cam gets it. He knows what's going on. Of all the times we've discussed must win on this show, I think this one is actually the most imminent.
Yeah, heads roll when you don't win, but that's not what Cam is fighting for ultimately. He has to say that, but ultimately he's fighting for winning performances. And be real, if you look at it, that's why I keep bringing up this is not a must-win because the perception is that it's a must-win. The reality is it's not. The reality is Cam Newton in his last 12 games, let me just give you his last 12 games. Why I got to do that? Because I want to bring some of the bad and I want to merge it with some of the good, just to give you a little better understanding perspective of the reality. Do you know that Cam has 18 total touchdowns, 5 interceptions? That's more touchdowns in the last 12 games than Derek Carr. Anybody out there saying that? Anybody thinking that? Higher completion percentage than Baker Mayfield. Whatever. Fewer interceptions than Patrick Mahomes. 12 games. Okay. Passer rating over 100 in 3 of his last 4 games. I get it, though. The reality is what I just said, and the perception is it don't feel like that because of the losses. But I know that teams always poach players, no matter if it's a winning team or losing player, based on their performance. You could be on a horrible team, but hey, you're a baller. We need you on our team to help us win. Cam Newton, I know he has to go to the podium. I know he has to look distraught. We used to do this all the time, and I'm going to tell the fans how it goes. And this is facts. You lose a game, and if you left it all on the field, you still going to feel it. I don't give a damn what you did. You got 12 sacks, and y'all lost. You feel bad, right? Then you get into the locker room, shower and all that, do your interviews, go to the podium. And then after that, you would think that hell has come to this entire team, this entire locker room. And to a team and to a game, every time we get on the bus, there's always one cat, if not more, saying, so what's up for tonight? That guy is like, look, it's behind me. Cam Newton can't go and be that real about this situation. But trust me, if Cam put out winning performances, because right now, the reality is he's doing okay as a quarterback, just not winning performances. Cam Newton is fighting. He's fighting 2 evils right here. And trust me.
I'll give you that.
Trust me.
I'll give you that.
One of them, he's actually winning that. Coming up, the Cowboys offense. Look at you mad at that. You don't want them to end like that. Cowboys offense has been struggling, and they have key injuries. We'll tell you how much we trust Dak Prescott for the stretch run. That's next. Don't speak for yourself. You don't like his numbers? 64 completion. The Patriots have won 7 straight games and are on top in the AFC. Cliff Kingsbury was asked, what it's like to be in the Coach of the Year conversation with Bill Belichick and said they should name the award after him, adding, quote, until he retires, I don't think anybody else should get the award. Wow. Acho, is it fair to say this is Bill Belichick's most impressive season?
Yes, it's either one or it's two. You can either go the Super Bowl season, the first one with Tom Brady, but the reason I will argue that this might be Bill Belichick's most impressive season, we're allowed to have hindsight bias. See, that first year he won the Super Bowl with Tom Brady, we now realize that he was coaching the greatest quarterback of all time. So is it that impressive to win a Super Bowl when you're coaching the greatest quarterback of all time? Now, at the time, we were like, yeah, but Tom Brady was just a second-year player. Sure. But he was the greatest quarterback of all time. So it's no longer that impressive when we actually have the hindsight knowledge of knowing who Bill Belichick was coaching. However, right now, Mac Jones, true rookie, which Bill Belichick has never had to coach, you out here leading the division, but also the AFC, that to me screams impressive. That's why this might be the most impressive season in Bill Belichick's career. I also had to dive a little bit deeper.
Let's go.
When he won that Super Bowl 01, that 01-02 year, remember all of the NFL MVPs for 10 years prior, only one was an MVP from the AFC. So from 92 to 01, there was only one AFC MVP. Why do I bring that up? It seems arbitrary. Because right now, Patrick Mahomes was an MVP. Lamar Jackson, a unanimous MVP, in the same conference as the Patriots. Yet the Patriots are finding a way to dominate that conference. Late 90s, early 2000s, Brett Favre was running the show. Brett Favre was running the show. Barry Sanders was running the show. Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, Kurt Warner running the show. Rich Gannon running the show. Peyton Manning gets an MVP by 2003, if I am not mistaken. And Terrell Davis got an MVP in 98, if I am not mistaken. But it wasn't as though the dominant players, or at least the best player, was chilling in the AFC. Patrick Mahomes, at least by talent, many would say is the best player. Lamar Jackson, only unanimous MVP. By talent, some might argue he's the best player. You sitting in the same conference as Mac Jones and the Patriots, but Bill Belichick somehow has the Patriots as the best team while y'all have the best players. To me, that's more impressive, or just as impressive, as Bill Belichick having the best team while the best players reside in another conference.
Okay. So I think that this is like his fourth best in terms of coaching performances. And I have to rank the other three before it.
Please do.
You say we can have hindsight bias. Can we have foresight bias? Is there such thing? Which is, we don't know how this season's going to end. Woo! We've seen 15-1 teams lose, 14-2 teams lose, and we saw Belichick 16-0 lose it all, right? So I don't know how this is going to end, so how can I say this is the most impressive? Like, up to this point? Really? Because they're, 9-4? Really? Let's go back to 2001 when I was still active and Tom Brady in them. First year as a starter. That was impressive, bro. First year as a starter because he was replacing a walking legend, Drew Bledsoe, first $100 million player in NFL history, who was a beast, who had went to a Super Bowl himself. And we were like, Tom Brady? Really? 19th ranked offense? Really? 24th ranked defense? You imagine? Super Bowl. Okay. And that's, to me, not even his most impressive. It wasn't even 2003 when he came and won another Super Bowl. It was the year after that when the team got better and they went back-to-back. And that's the last time we've seen a team go back-to-back. A team that supposedly is full, and we ain't got no appetite, we just ate. And they went back-to-back. And at that time, no one was calling Brady the GOAT. I understand what you're saying. Now you look back, that was the baby GOAT. So you should take something off of it. I can't, man. They went back-to-back on top of already having the previous success. So when we want to rank them and split hairs, this is up there. Because, look, Belichick's been coaching forever. But to me, it's not even top three.
So I think all it would take to make this the most impressive season is an AFC Championship appearance.
Really?
I don't even think they have to win a Super Bowl. Reason I say this, remember what we're dealing with right now. COVID. Okay. Why do I say that's of importance? Because last year, I believe the Patriots had the most opt-outs.
Yes,
8.
they did.
So Bill Belichick had to get players to opt back in, and he didn't get everybody. Patrick Chung retires. Bill Belichick has to get some players to opt back in. You got him to opt back in, but you opt him back in, and who's the quarterback, coach? Because it ain't Cam, and we at least don't want it to be Cam. We can't really win no games like that with Cam. Wait a second, you going to draft a rookie? And you want me, Dante Hightower, a 10-year vet, 3-time Super Bowl champ, to come back and play a whole grueling season thinking we can win something with this rookie? You want me, Devin McCourty, an all-pro player, I believe another 3-time Super Bowl champ. You want me to come back here and play a whole season, and you got a rookie out there, coach? Yeah, I do actually, fellas. And we're going to make something of this season. So that is why I'm like, wait, if they just get to an AFC championship game, this now falls in line with most impressive. Because it's not just what you're doing, but it's who are you doing it against. And when I think about who are the Patriots having to do it against, the Bills are supposed to be like that. The Chiefs supposed to be like that. Ravens supposed to be like that. So that's why I'm like, yo, if you beaten unanimous MVPs in their prime, that to me is more impressive. And beating them in totality, obviously haven't played head-to-head, but beating them in totality in their prime, that to me is more impressive than, or just as impressive, has the potential to be more impressive than what happened back in 01.
I can't go there. I think this is just another example, classic case of you weren't expecting much, and now you're doing too much in terms of giving them credit. And that's what happens a lot. Look, Drake, they had a concert last night. Kanye, you were there, right? Celebrity entrance, right? And they were like, oh, look, everybody to the left, everybody to the right. Excuse me, 2-time Acho coming through, right? You and 2 Chainz, 4 bracelets. Anyway, here's the thing, Acho. Woo! When you're not expecting much, you always do too much, right? Once you get there. Let's bring up that concert last night. And Drake had that song, Started from the Bottom, right? Started from the bottom. And I noticed in this world that when you go from bad to good, people give you more credit than when you go from good to great. And I'm like, hold on. And I learned this in college. Before Drake made the song, I should have made the song. In college, I'd be rich. In college, everybody wanted to be down. So guess what that meant? Literally, they wanted to be down. The rich kids didn't want to act like they were rich in college. I was like, dog, you got a helicopter? And you, oh, no, that's my dad's. No, that's yours too, bro. And then everybody who were from humble beginnings like me, all of a sudden, we became the cool kids. I was like, well, we cool. I ain't got 2 sticks to rub together, and y'all over here, so tell me more about L.A. and Compton. I'm like, what the hell is going on? The world's upside down. I think when you rank Bill Belichick, we shouldn't get caught up in this whole, well, last year opt-outs and this year they're here. Because guess what? They spent the most money in free agency history, bruh. I don't know how bad it was, but it wasn't hard to opt back in after you see all that money flowing. Coming up, there's a big AFC North battle on Sunday. Acho's coming left, right. Everybody move. We'll tell you who has more on the line, Lamar Jackson or Baker Mayfield. That's next on Speak for Yourself. 2 Chainz, get on. The Ravens and Browns have a big AFC North matchup on Sunday, but both teams have been struggling. Lamar Jackson's offense has not scored at least 20 points in his last 3 starts. Yuck. And the Browns have lost 3 out of 5. And Baker Mayfield said earlier this week, quote, now it's crunch time. Capital crunch. So, Acho, who has more on the line Sunday, Lamar or Baker?
Baker, big dog.
Really?
Baker.
Give it
First and foremost, man, Baker, y'all are looking there with the Steelers at the bottom of that division. It ain't last year anymore, man. 3 teams ain't making a division. Not only are y'all sitting there at the bottom of the barrel in your division, you're sitting there at the bottom of the barrel in the AFC in its entirety. 9 teams in the AFC have 6 or 7 wins. So y'all are sitting there jostling for space. How are you going to get it done, Browns, is how Baker gets it done. Browns, the only way the Browns can go is if Baker takes them. For whatever reason, they have decided that it's Baker and it's not Case Keenum. I don't support that decision with an injured Baker Mayfield, but that's just the way it goes. So Baker got to get it done. Lamar already got his money. Lamar already has his MVPs. Lamar already has made the playoffs and won playoff games. I get it. Baker made the playoffs as well. Yeah. But we already... You know what? I'll go here. I don't even need my notes. I'm pivoting.
You saying Lamar gonna get his money? He ain't got it.
Yes, he gonna get his money. Like I'm already calculating.
Yeah. Spending his money already. Yes.
There's sometimes when you look at an individual and you give them the benefit of the doubt, and then you look at an individual and then you just doubt them. Baker and Lamar could do the same thing, but we're gonna give Lamar the benefit of the doubt because he's earned it. Baker has not earned that right yet. So, Baker, you're fighting against our biases. You're fighting against our stereotypes. You're fighting against how we already perceive you. Lamar threw 4 picks, though. The Ravens won, and we didn't bat an eye. 1 touchdown, 4 picks. The Ravens won. We truly did not bat an eye. Let Baker Mayfield throw 4 interceptions in 1 game, which he hasn't done this season. I don't even think he did that last season because I think he only threw 9 all year. Let Baker Mayfield throw 4 picks in 1 game. We will be calling for him to go back to college and re-redshirt before entering the league again. Lamar did it, and we were just like, but he's still got to win. Somehow Lamar willed his team to victory even in 4 interceptions. Look how hard they play for Lamar. It's just a difference of perception between Lamar and Baker. That's why Baker has to find a way, more pressure for him.
Yeah, that conversation we were having about credit. Like, I understand that. I mean, Lamar is likable, but Lamar has more on the line. Like, just be real about that. One, the indictment and the verdict is in on Baker Mayfield. He's not good. Like, he's not good enough. Whatever you want to call it. He's trash. Whatever you want to call it. I'm not even going to slander the dude. Let's just...
But you just did.
I know how to do it.
You did twice.
I know how to do it. I know. I'll get away with it, too. He ain't good. No, just kidding. No, for real. Let's talk about this. More is on the line. I ain't right. More is on the line based on the reputational risk that is at play. Let's talk about the reputational risk. If Baker Mayfield fails in this moment and the Cleveland Browns don't make the playoffs, are we shocked? If Lamar Jackson fails in this moment and then the Ravens don't make the playoffs, are we shocked? Yeah, you know why we're shocked? Because it's the first time we saw Lamar Jackson regress. This is not the first time we've seen Baker Mayfield regress. Let's just be real about this, right? And the expectations are higher for Lamar Jackson because he created them. But he created them out of skepticism. Think about this. Talk about a rose that grew from the concrete. He wasn't supposed to be able to play quarterback. Wasn't supposed to be able to be who he is. And he became that. Now, all of that is on the line because you may remind us of why we were skeptical of you in the first place. But not Baker Mayfield. That indictment is already in. He's already locked up in terms of what we think of him. One is a unanimous MVP who led the league in passing touchdowns. The other one is Baker Mayfield. One has the most wins in NFL history at the age of 24, and one is Baker Mayfield. One saved their Super Bowl winning head coach's job, and the other one's gotten coaches fired and hired and fired, and his name is Baker Mayfield. Dog, just what's online, what's at risk, what's invested is Lamar Jackson, not only him as a player, but his reputation as a great.
But think, if you're Baker, you can hold your hat on one thing exclusively. I've led the Browns to the playoffs and a playoff win, and that has not happened in 20 to 25 years. Playoff win.
I give you that.
So you can hold your hat on that. But you can only hold your hat on that as long as you're doing that. As long as you're leading the Browns to the playoffs and playoff wins. Baker loses this game, they're not going to the playoffs. See, several Browns quarterbacks have been 6-7, Baker Mayfield. Several Browns quarterbacks have gone 6-8. Baker Mayfield, currently 6-6. Several Browns quarterbacks have done that. But no Browns quarterback, since who we talking, Bernie Kosar and other OGs, have led them to the playoffs and won playoff games. So, Baker, if you're no longer doing what makes you special, you're no longer special. That's why I think more is on the line. Because, Sel, Baker's still special to me. As someone drafted to Cleveland, still special to me because I'm like, dang, big dog, I know how hard it is to win there. We were 4-12 my rookie year. I know that's nearly impossible to win there. You're special. Because you did what Heisman winners like Robert Griffin couldn't do in their layovers. Heisman winners like Johnny Manziel couldn't do in their layovers. Heisman finalists like Colt McCoy couldn't do in their stops there. Heisman finalists like Brady Quinn couldn't do. Heisman winners like Tim Couch couldn't do. 28-year-old veteran first-round picks like Brandon Whedon couldn't do. But, Baker, you could do that. But at the point in which what makes Baker Mayfield unique is no longer an attribute he possesses, which is winning and leading the Browns to the playoffs, he has no unique quality. More on the line for him because he's still fighting to salvage at least the one thing that makes him special, and that's being a playoff quarterback for the Browns.
Can't argue that. He did something that obviously is rare in that region where he is right now. But Baker's been convicted, bruh. This is why I just think it's Lamar Jackson. Baker's been convicted of being consistently inconsistent, right? That's who he is. Lamar Jackson was put on trial, and the case was dismissed because they was like, that's a lie. This is trumped up charges, right? But guess what? Right now, somebody trying to indict him again on the same charges. Don't remind us of the skepticism, because to me, that's a lot on the line. Coming up, it's all about the NFC West on Monday night. Whoa, we'll tell you if we're more confident in Kyler Murray or Matthew Stafford. That's next on Speak for Yourself. Come on, Lamar. Come on. Kyler Murray's Cardinals are the only team with double-digit wins in the NFL, and they'll try to add to that Monday night against the Rams. Over in L.A., Matthew Stafford's squad had a blowout win last week after previously losing 3 straight games. So, Acho, more confident in Kyler Murray? Matthew Stafford, Monday night.
Stafford, and it's really just because I'm not fully confident in either, but honestly, I've realized we've blown this whole Stafford demise out of proportion.
Oh.
Let's remember, Stafford leads the NFL in games with 3+ passing touchdowns with 7. Ahead of Tom Brady, ahead of Mahomes, ahead of Dak, ahead of your guy, Justin Herbert. At the top of that list is Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford had 2 bad games. One of which Odell Beckham was showing up new on the spot, and Stafford threw 2 picks. He forced to Odell Beckham in the next possession, pick 6, once again, just out of rhythm, out of sync. But Stafford already has his 3rd most passing touchdowns in his illustrious career, and he has 5 games left, Sal. Like, Stafford's demise has been blown way out of proportion. Stafford is going to be just fine. I think he is just fine, and I think that Jacksonville Jaguars game reminded me Matthew Stafford and these Rams are back. Furthermore, Cardinals beat up on the Rams in Los Angeles about a month and a half ago.
Straight gangster Mac.
It's hard to beat a team twice. It is very hard to beat a good team twice. And you've given Sean McVay an additional day to prepare. Plus, it's hard to beat a team twice. Plus, Stafford's heard the noise. He's heard the critics. He knows what time it is. I'm more confident in Matthew Stafford again.
I knew I was going to win this one, but you really made it easy on me when you start hitting me with those cliches. You know, all divisional games are tough. Oh, it's tough to beat a team twice. Is it? Ask Dak Prescott. It ain't tough to beat a team twice. What's his record in that division? It ain't that tough. But let's talk about Kyler Murray versus Matthew Stafford. You know I'm going with Kyler Murray. Why? He's having a better season than Matthew Stafford. And I understand that Matthew Stafford's having a damn good season, but it's not Kyler Murray level. Let's be real. Compare the two. Who has a higher completion percentage? Okay. Passer rating? Okay. Yards per attempt? Okay. We know running the ball. Okay. So it's Kyler Murray in this situation. But you know what's crazy? Matthew Stafford still has the monkey on his back versus Kyler Murray doesn't have a monkey at all. We don't know what to think of Kyler Murray when it comes postseason, correct? We haven't seen it. But Matthew Stafford, we've seen it, and we've been let down multiple times. 0-3 in the postseason. So when that's in front of you, you can act all you want like it's about present day. Steve Young lived through this experience, right? Steve Young, I ain't tripping. You know, replacing Joe Montana, I ain't tripping. Finally won his Super Bowl. The monkey's off my back. Screaming it into every camera he could see on the sidelines. You want to know why? Because he knew that was the obstacle in front of him. Matthew Stafford knows the obstacle in front of him, and when it comes to him versus Kyler Murray, he also knows that right now he has the lesser of the 2 numbers.
It's not that he has a lesser of the 2 numbers. The difference is you're not punishing Kyler Murray for omission.
Oh, okay.
Remember, like, Kyler Murray missed 3 or 4 games this season, so you're not punishing the fact that Kyler Murray wasn't present. We've heard Stafford's been injured. He's just still there. And while being there, he might not have played his best games, to which you might say, okay, Stafford, if you're not healthy, just don't be present at all. But I'm not punishing Kyler for omission, but I'm definitely not going to give him an added benefit. Big Dog, he ain't been there. Kyler Murray hasn't even executed a winning season yet, like a fully dominant winning season. So I don't even know what I don't know about Kyler Murray. Now, Matthew Stafford, we know 0-3 in the playoffs. But I also remember Jared Goff hadn't won a game before Sean McVay. He was 0-7.
Yeah.
2 years later, he was in the Super Bowl. So Matthew Stafford plus Sean McVay, I just trust them to get it done. Stafford, he's so good that when he deviates even from his greatness, we knock him, just like we do so many other greats. His greatness is his biggest enemy. But Stafford, he realizes how much pressure is on him, and I think he doesn't fold under the pressure this time around.
Yeah, look, to me, I'd rather be the guy who was omitted. I didn't participate versus the guy with the bad performance. Now, that's not an absolute, but I'm going to look at you different. If you step across those white lines and you perform poorly, I'm going to grade you harsher than someone who didn't even participate because of injury, because of health. That said, what's the old saying? Like, it's better to keep silent and make them doubt that your intelligence, and open your mouth and remove all doubt.
Yes, it's better to be silent and be thought to be a fool than to speak and remove all doubt.
Yeah, well, we know who the fool is in this one. Because, boy, he doesn't step across that field and open his mouth. Coming up, Russell Wilson says he wants to play 20 years of his career in Seattle. Man, all right. I'm going to tell you if he's keeping it 100 or just 99. I think I already leaked that out. That's next on Speak for Yourself. On this show, we only know how to keep it 100. But others, they only keep it 99. So each day we're going to get to the bottom of who's really telling the truth. Case in point, Russell Wilson shot down a report that he was strongly considered a trade to 3 teams. He was then asked if he would fulfill his contract with Seattle. Listen.
that's my hope. You know, my hope's to not just fulfill it. Hopefully, I get to play here for 20 years of my career. Will that happen? I don't know, but that's my prayer. That's my hope.
For his 99th appearance on Keeping It 100. Is Russell Wilson keeping it 100 or 99, bro?
Bro, he keeping it 9, big dog. First off, he said, that's my prayer, that's my hope.
Oh,
bro,
God.
stop lying. Like, your prayer is not to stay with Seattle. Your prayer is to go in the best position possible, and that's probably not even Seattle. Stop playing, bro.
Yeah, you know you lying when you're bringing God into it. You're like, God, come here. Come forgive me of this sin I'm about to commit right now as I speak. Russell Wilson, he just changed his number to 99 or something. I don't know what the hell is going on. Have a great weekend. Fox Bet Live next.